I am going to be working on the 2023 Subaru Solterra Touring. This is Subaru's electric vehicle, fully electric. We got this to save money, number one. I had a 2023 Silverado LTZ, loved it. We'll miss a truck, but we do have a Jeep for the things we need to go off-road, stuff like that with. But for example, I love the black and the white that the Solterra has. I just don't like the chrome. Like, I don't understand, why would you put chrome when you have everything else blacked out? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to black out the emblems. There is some trickiness to these. So the EV, I'm going to keep the blue. So I'm going to have to tape this off and then cut off where the blue's at, or leave the blue on there and cut this chrome out. On the Touring, this is a solid piece, so I cannot cover the silver Touring part, which is going to be okay. The rest will be all black and there'll be chrome in there. I think I'm going to have to replace that emblem once they make one that is blocked out with maybe white lettering. So work on that. On the other side of the car, we'll get to next, is going to be the Subaru all-wheel drive emblems, and again, they're just all chrome. So what I'm going to do is, what you have to do is, first and foremost, wash your hands. Wash your hands with like Dawn dish soap. Get all the grease and oils off your skin. Secondly, what you want to do is wipe down the area. So what you don't want to use is just regular glass cleaner. I used an ammonia-free glass cleaner to wipe down the paint, to remove any type of waxes, stuff like that. Then you're going to do is take some alcohol. So I have just some alcohol wipe swabs. I'm going to go through it and wipe down all the pieces of chrome that I want the black plastic dip to stick to. So there's a couple different pieces of equipment that you'll need. One is going to be some painter's tape, some alcohol, some toothpicks, some tweezers. Got my wife's tweezers here, an X-Acto knife, and then I got the flat black plastic dip. And then I'm not sure if I'm going to do the gloss on the black, because this black is glossy, but the calding around the bumper and around the fenders is a flat black. So I'm probably going to stick with the flat black. I'm not real sure about that. But those are the things that we'll use. Having a microfiber cloth is really important. Just make sure you don't get any kind of hairs and fibers on the vehicle when you're doing it. So I'm going to give it a quick rub down, and then we'll go ahead and wipe it where the tape's going to go. Make sure the tape stays well. The temperature here in Idaho right now is about 85 degrees. You want to do this outside, but not when it's really, really hot. When it's really hot, it's going to dry too fast. It's just going to cause complications with any type of painting. You want to keep it a mild temperature, and keep the dust off is really, really important. So obviously we're not painting the whole car, but what we're going to do is we're going to take the alcohol wipes now. And a toothpick is great because, like in the letter A, it's really small. So you take the toothpick in here, wrap it up, and just kind of wiggle around inside there. Get all the letters inside the R's, inside the E, the top and bottom of the E on the inside. Be careful not to scratch your paint by pushing too hard. And then the O, and then again the S. You can also use tweezers. So for example, at the E, you can just come across and get that like this. So I try not to use these if I don't have to, because you don't want to scratch the paint that's underneath it. But just come around, get it all clean. This vehicle is new. We've only had it a week, actually 6 days. Just washed it before I started this process by hand. So it's pretty clean. We haven't taken it off or anything silly like that yet. So car should be pretty darn clean. But if you want paint to stick, you want to make sure you get it really, really clean. Okay, so I don't see anything. I'm going to take my sunglasses off and make sure I can see inside there. If there's any, there's a little piece of fuzz in there. I'll probably blow on it here in a second to get it dried out. I would recommend compressed air if you have it. I don't have any, but I'm not worried about it. But if you had an older vehicle, it's pretty dirty, and stuff stuck in there, you might want to do that. Next is take your painter's tape. I have the Scotch blue. We're just going to tear some pieces off, and you're going to go about an inch or half inch above the lettering. What's going to happen is when we spray it, we're actually going to be painting the car. Now, don't worry about the plastic dip, because plastic dip will peel off wherever you don't want to. So I'm going to take, once I spray it all on here, a couple of different coatings, about 10 minutes in between while they dry. Then when you're done, you're just basically going to take the X-Acto knife or a toothpick, and you're going to poke around the lettering and peel off the big chunks. And then you're going to be left with the blacked out lettering. Do leave yourself some big gaps of paint, because you don't want overspray all over the whole car. That would not be fun. And put a liberal amount on there. Again, like I said, it's better to have it on there than have to try to do cleanup. Personally, I don't think you can do too much, because it's just a protective measure. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is because, one, it's cheap. It cost about 20 bucks worth of materials to do this, and it'll be enough material to do all the emblems on the car. But secondly is, they don't make any parts for this type of customization on the Solterra quite yet. Now, if they did, they're probably going to cost you 100 bucks for the emblem. So save some money and do it yourself. This will work on all vehicles, by the way, not just a Subaru Solterra. This is something you should do if you are looking to customize your vehicle and save some money. Some of you might be thinking I'm overkilling it with this tape, but I've had the experience of overspray, and that's no fun. Because what's going to happen when you spray the spray can, you're going to get a spray that's not equal of just a nice flat spray like a professional spray gun. That's going to splatter everywhere. And so you might have a splatter that comes way over here and gets all over the light, and you're not going to see it for a while. And it's going to dry up, and it's going to stay there forever. So let's just not do that. Now, the one part that's really going to be tricky, again, like I said, is the EV here. This is a blue plastic behind the chrome metal. I'm going to cover this in tape, cut out the silver so I can, or the chrome, so I can paint the chrome and hopefully save the blue. If not a big deal. It'll just be all black. It'd probably be best just to paint it all black, but I want to try to see if I can get a little bit of customization of having it not be all black. If I can, great. If I can't, not a big loss. Looks like we're just about done with some of this tape. I'd like to get myself about half foot surrounding where we're spraying, so 6 inches or so. But we do have a little breeze as well, so a little bit of breeze. Again, that overspray, not ideal to have that. Now, some of you may have already noticed that I am not a professional at doing this. This is just some dude having some fun customizing our family car. I'm going to tape over the touring and then cut out, like I said, right here. And it's perfect because you can feel the groove where that black insert is where it says touring. So I'm gonna tape over it and cut that out real fast. Your fingernail, you get right up in there and keep that tape in there where you want it to be. Next, I'm gonna take the toothpick, rub it across it. It's actually probably gonna cut it out for me if I do this. We'll see. Okay, so that's on there. Now I'm going to take the X-Acto knife and cut it out really clean. Take your time. You don't want to come off and cut your paint like I almost did there. And there we go. So as you can see, this is coming off just well, just fine. Except for this piece here, you need to cut a little sharper edge. There we go. All right, so now take that extra tape and then take your thumb and just rub it on there nice and tight so it stays. Okay, Next, we'll do that to the EV. Hopefully it'll be just as simple. I'm gonna guess it's not gonna be though. So what I didn't do was just really look at it real fast. So I just need to do is kind of take my fingernail, come back over it, and make a guideline for myself. And then make some impressions. So I'll take the toothpick again. Remember, we want to keep where the blue's at on the blue. And this is going to be hard. Honestly, I'm not sure if it's going to be able to happen. What I'm going to do actually, I'm going to paint it, and then I'm going to take the X-Acto knife and I'm going to cut the black off the blue. That's what I'm going to do. So worst case scenario, it's all black. Best case scenario, I'm able to cut out around the blue. But what I don't want to do is come here with the X-Acto knife and cut up the blue by trying to make that cut. But being covered in the black, I'll be able to see where those grooves are at, and I'll be able to cut out the way I want to. So I think we're set, guys. We're gonna go ahead and spray it. So again, it's the plastic dip, flexible protective rubber coating. It's peelable, so it's easy to remove when most surfaces are ready, when we're ready. And it's flexible, meaning that it won't crack, chip, or become brittle. So it does resist weather and chemicals. So a lot of people use it for like electrical wiring as well. Now remember, I have the flat black. Again, the caulding on the bumpers and stuff is flat, but all the rest of it's shiny gloss. So I do have the gloss to go with it as well. So make sure you shake these up really good. I've already shaken them before I started. Make sure the tape is secure everywhere. And then we're gonna give it our first light coat. Okay, here we go. So remember, very light coat. Actually, I skipped a step. That step's gonna be, let's go spray this on a piece of cardboard to make sure we have the nozzle clean. So we're gonna do that first. My handy dandy wife just handed me a piece of cardboard. I'm gonna spray it underneath the car so we don't get overspray, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's actually a nice spray, so we're good. I'm not worried about it now. What I'm worried about is when you spray something and it clumps out, splatters. So that didn't do that, so we're pretty good. So we're just going to go nice light coat. And remember, make sure you go multiple angles because they are three-dimensional.
Okay. We're supposed to get that white part wet?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
so as you can see, my wife asked me, are we supposed to get the white part wet? So ideally no, right? Because if we do that, then what's gonna happen, you painted your car. But because this is not paint, it's plastic dip, we're gonna be able to peel that off. Okay. So what we're going to do is let this dry because we don't want it clumpy and all nasty looking. We want it nice and smooth. And right now it's got a little bit of clump to it just because it's starting to adhere to it. It will smooth out here just a little bit. I'm gonna give it a timer of 10 minutes. So we're gonna do that now. In 10 minutes, we'll come back. The only thing we're gonna do is hit it again with a nice light coat. Wait another 10 minutes, do it again. And by that time, we should have a nice coat around on the white part of the actual paint. And then we'll do, like I said, I'm gonna go through the EV. I'm probably going to just leave it black. It looks pretty cool black, I think, so far. It might be a little neat pop to blue if we had more blue in the car. I mean, we have a little bit of blue in the Idaho plate, but I'm gonna change that on the Subaru logo to be white. As I mentioned, you're gonna see a little bit of overspray. I see some right here, so I'm gonna wipe it off right now. We don't want anything oversprayed anywhere. That is not what we want for our car, is to have plastic dip overspray. So that just tells me that I need to do a little bit more coverage on the vehicle before we hit it again. So while I'm waiting for the dry, I'm going to do that now. And the cool part is that we don't have to tape off the entire thing because it's plastic dip, right? If I had to, I would have just took off the emblems themselves because they're adhesive with some 3M tape. The problem with that is being able to get them right back in the exact same spot and painting them. So that would be probably a professional way of doing it. It's more work. That's not a big deal about the work. I don't know if I'm skilled to make that as well as I probably should. Basically on these, because it's 3M adhesive, these are all individual letters. So imagine trying to stick them back in the right place. I don't think I could do that. I don't mind doing something like this one or this one because it's all one piece. But the individual letters, remember you're going to take off the adhesive and then you're going to have to put new adhesive on there and then you're going to have to stick it back where it's supposed to go. Good luck making it look like a kindergarten didn't do it. So I'm not that good. Now you can buy them as a kit, all blacked out like I said before, but not on the Solterra. So like a Subaru logo you can, but here's something to remember is all the lettering is a little bit different on every model of the Subaru. So the Solterra, one, they don't have the blacked out logos that I've seen. I couldn't find it anywhere. The EV, same thing. And the Subaru lettering is the same size as the Solterra, but like on the WRX and the Ascent, they're different size. So if you want to go and try to measure some, because I know the Ascent has blacked out logos with their Onyx edition, you might be able to do that, but I have not been able to find them. And when I did find them, they were someone who's done something like this to them. Additionally, they've also cost over $100. So another way of doing this that I thought about doing originally was doing vinyl cutout. I have a buddy who has a vinyl shop. Again, because they're not just flat letters, they're three-dimensional, you're gonna have to get a good wrap all the way around it. Not super cheap to do, so again, I refrained from doing that route. Now, this looks like it's tacky enough to spray again. It's been 5 minutes, so I'm gonna actually go ahead and do that. I'm gonna go ahead and stop my timer, and I'm gonna spray it again. I do wanna put just a little bit more tape up on the top here. Maybe over here on this quarter panel. Because when you're doing those angle sprays, that's when it's going to start going all over the place. So let's be smarter about it. All right, got a little bit of wind going, so I'm going to be very careful on how I spray. We're going to go left to right, right to left. I got wind coming on the left, so I'm going to go left to right. I'm going to go top. Then bottom up. So it looks like it's got pretty good coverage. I'm gonna start in the bottom a little bit here. Try not to do what I just did because you want a nice even coat across it. Okay, I'm gonna stop now before it starts to get runny. So I'm starting to tack up, I can see it. We're actually gonna, this one actually go 10 minutes because it's got a nice coat on it. We want it to not be amateurish, right? I mean, we're an amateur, definitely not professional, but I don't want it to look like some punk did it, even though I am one. So, okay, so I believe that we're done here. We're not gonna know until we take all this tape off and start peeling off the plastic dip off of the actual paint job and then separating it from the lettering as we go through it. So I'm going to stay here and start pulling off some of this tape until I get to this square here and then so you're going to see me speed up doing it. Okay, you can see the plastic dip coming out a little bit. This is what we're talking about where you can peel this off and hopefully you're going to be able to peel that right off around the letters. So that is what's going to be the telling truth if I did this right. or not. So we're just gonna go slow. Take my sunglasses off and see what I'm doing. I'll tape off first. So now it's important, I'm gonna take my X-Acto knife or my razor blade here. Now I'm just gonna go slowly around some of these letters to break it off cleanly. Now, very, very careful because your paint's underneath this. You don't want to get all silly crazy and scratch your paint up. I believe if we just do just the top portions, start to get it to break away, should be fine. It looks like it needs to dry just a tad more, my personal opinion. So I think I might wait, but we'll give it a little whirl here on this A and see what we got. So you can see the EV came out pretty well. Still got some overspray here, and I'm going to take this rag and I'm going to spray it with some glass cleaner. And it should come right off. Yep. The same thing here. Okay. So we're going to come across here and just start taking this off and see how it works. How it comes apart. Oh, it looks good. Like I said, take your time because you're going to pull the plastic off the letters if you don't. Take my toothpick. Go around the letters. Perfect. This is where the tweezers come into play. Pull this nice and slow. So I switch to the toothpick. Toothpick is safer for the paint. So I'm just trying to get a foot on this. So it's going to go around the lettering. Basically, get my X-Acto knife, come in here just real softly. Pull this down. So now we got some coming off here. Okay, you can see a lot of it's come off in a pretty good fashion of not, there's no lettering that's come off quite yet. So there are some spots that are making me a little stressed out, which is between the E and the R here, which is pretty tight, but it is coming off pretty easily. Again, the letters themselves are staying covered, and that is exactly what we want. It's the whole purpose of this. Just gotta take your time and be patient with it. Okay, so you can see got most of that off so far. So I'm gonna come in here, take this, okay, and it's still a little tacky, so I can feel that it's not completely dry. So I'm being super careful because being not completely dry is easy to pull off the lettering. So let's try to get this guy off of here. It's looking pretty cool in my opinion. Do be patient. Sometimes your toothpick won't pull up the plastic dip in the lettering, so get a sharp one, a newer one, and just play around the bottom of the edges. There we go. See, this one I was able to pop up. And then get your tweezers and grab a hold of it and pull nice and slow. And reattach your tweezers if necessary. Boom. Okay, last two we gotta do is the A and the R. Then Solterra will be squared away. This is definitely going to be a hard one because the A is so small. Find a win with the R. Now let's come in here and try to get the win with the A. That side is cleaned up. I'm going to spray the rag, swipe around it, get some of that tape residue off and some of the lettering. Black. And there's going to be a few spots that will need to be sharpened up. So you can get your little X-Acto knife or razor blade and just go through very gently, touch up here, take the little danglies off. And honestly, it'll probably come off over time anyways, but you don't want it to get caught on something then rip off all of the lettering. Cool. Guys, Solterra Touring EV is done. I think I'm glad that we kept the EV all black and not with blue. I think the Touring doesn't look terrible with the chrome lettering of Touring because overall the whole thing is black. And that gives us just a little pop, kind of goes with the lights. So looks good to me. Let's go to the other side. Okay, so now we're on the Subaru side with all-wheel drive. So the Solterra side came out great, and we will get a zoom in and just the back side of it as well, so you can see both sides, compare the beginning, the factory look, and then the after look of doing this. So I'm gonna take the rest of the tape off. Now I would do recommend don't just rip it off because you are going to get some tape residue on there if you just yank it off. Not only that, you're going to potentially pull this off once you get down there and not in the right fashion. If you don't want to use this much tape, I would recommend that you get the painter's like butcher paper and just cover the car. Use less tape. But I didn't want to buy it because it was more money. Might as well just buy a 4-pack of paint, or tape I mean. And it's much cheaper that way. And it didn't use 4 rolls, it used 1 big roll, maybe half of a big roll. And it's coming off nice. Now, I would recommend doing this diligently because having to go back and try to get the little pieces makes it much harder. So now once we're here, come in here and start taking this off. I'll start on the end here. I'm not sure if you can see me inside each letter right here, but it's important to get, basically you're gonna pull it kind of like almost like weaving in between the letters. Just take your time. Didn't want that to happen, but it did. So come this way, up, take the part from the top. Because what I'm trying to do, here we go, I'm trying to get the A to come apart without, there we go, just like that. Come through here. So then we have in between the W and the D, you want to break that off without, there we go. We're going to pull up slowly. Pulling up, we're going to break away from the B, grab it, pull it down, and pull up at the same time. So I got one on the bottom, one on the top. Same thing from between the letters. I'm going to push down. So keep pushing it down in between the letters, and I got a gap here. Pull this one over, and it should pull it, connect it, boom. And then boom, like that. Give it a little help on this U. It's probably the smallest gap that we have is the S. So we'll take our tweezers and try to grab them and pull it out if possible. I think this one's going to be the X-Acto knife. Almost flossing your teeth with the toothpick here doing this. You're just getting it out. And what's going to happen is it's going to just get stuck to the toothpick. Be careful because I almost rubbed some of it off the actual letter. So I'm going to wait on that one. I'll come back here, pull this up. Take a X-Acto knife, come across top of symmetrical here. Next is going to be the B, A, and the R, A, and a D. Again, these are small and they become patient testers. Don't rush or you'll start over. One thing to note, when you're doing this, your toothpick can be rubbing on here. And if you do that, you're going to be rubbing off your black and you'll be start over. So I've used 2 toothpicks here. Now I'm going to use another one because the other one became dull trying to push this out. Tweezers, just pull that out. So that is where we have to really just focus on being patient and get it out. Because once you get that scraped open a little bit, we're able to grab with the tweezers and just pull it out nice and clean. Again, like I said though, if you rush it, you will be starting over. All right, Subaru seems much harder than Solterra. I don't know why, but maybe because the letters are smaller with the gaps. But we're just gonna come through here and clean this with a toothpick on the inside of the letters. Scrape, make sure there's nothing left in there. I do have an A left, so we'll do this A, and then we'll be done, man. With the back end, we'll have the two front fenders. The two front fenders have the EV logo on it, so we'll just gotta grab those and get those done. That A is hard. Take your time. It does have a little bit of, you see some of the chrome coming through a little bit. What I'll do is I'll take a toothpick, spray the toothpick, and just dab it on there to fix the little blemishes I caused by doing that. Inside the B, inside the A, the place is really hard trying to scrape in there. And I don't know if it's actually blemished or if it's just some of the toothpick that's in there. But I'll clean it off and give myself a good look at it. But overall, guys, it has changed the look dramatically. And I tell you what, we love the look of classy, sporty vehicles. And this vehicle looks nice enough. And then we tinted the windows. So we're gonna tint those guys up so you can see what that looks like. What the difference is, just what a big difference that it makes by having it tinted. Because obviously the electric vehicle, you don't want all the heat coming in, because then you're gonna be running your battery low by trying to keep it cool. So there we go, we got it done.